What's going on, everybody? This is not Birds of the Round Table. This is Party on Broad. We're breaking down the top 10 interior offensive linemen in the 2024 NFL Draft. Joining me, he is Ryan Reese. Give him a follow on X at Philly Sports PSA. What's up, Ryan?
Not much, man. It's I feel like it's been a little bit. We witnessed the official crowning of the college football champions since our last show, and here we're going to be talking about some of the big boys, some interior offensive line. I can't wait to get into it.
Yep. Could Howie Roseman draft an interior offensive lineman with one of their first 3 picks?
It's very possible.
I think it is too.
And think about it. We love the trenches, so that's no surprise. But again, I think for the Eagles, it's really how is the right side of the offensive line going to look next year? Is Jason Kelsey, is he going to retire? Is Lane Johnson going to retire? Or is Cam going to kick inside to center to replace Kelsey, or is he going to stay and we're going to go for a center? Again, there's so many variables of who's staying, who's going, who's moving, who's doing what, and Howie might just go for one of those versatile guys that can kind of play a little bit of all over and kind of fill in the gap for whatever he might need in the future.
Yep. And speaking of that, let's roll into our number 1 interior offensive lineman. Guys, if you're watching this live, please be sure to comment your thoughts on this group. I think this is a really solid group, underrated class in this draft. Number 1, it is Graham Barton. Dude has 5 position versatility. He's a first-round talent, in my opinion. Has experience both at tackle and center. Really good athleticism, power, footwork, anchor, football IQ, physicality. He plays smart. His head is on a swivel. This is a guy that, there aren't a lot of negatives outside of the average arm length, which is, that's kind of we talk about that a lot with these guys. We're going to hear it a lot today on this show. It's important to note that the ACC wasn't the biggest of challenges for left tackles, which is where he played last year. Even when he played against Florida State, he didn't get a lot of snaps or reps against Jared Verse. So I guess the question is, where does Barton translate best? That's a question for, the next level. He's undoubtedly one of the best football players in this draft. You look at, last year's first round picks, Peter Skoronski. He's kind of in that same mold. He can be a great guard. He can be a great center. Wherever he's going to be, I think this guy's a top 30 prospect or so, Pro Bowl caliber technician with great athleticism. This guy's a plug and play starter from day one. Graham Barton, man, he's awesome.
Yeah, no, he's you nailed it when it doesn't really seem like he had the most high value talent going up against. So it's really interesting to kind of see where he may fall. But yeah, he certainly seems to have all the skill sets one would need to play in the interior on an offensive line at a very high level.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming in number 2, Troy Fountainu. We talked about him quite a bit out of Washington. Another guy that's moving from left tackle to the interior. Tell us about Troy Fountainu.
Yeah, listen, for anybody who watched the national championship game, you definitely saw Fountainu be at his best. I mean, he was getting to that second level. He was driving people into the ground. And that Michigan defense is certainly formidable. So, certainly hats off to him for, being able to still play at a high level against high competition. And as I said, that's what he does. He does such an excellent job of getting to that second level, moving upfield quickly, and having the flexibility and the power to kind of land those blocks, those second blocks in space. He's a very physical, offensive lineman. He honestly, it feels like he loves just kind of that grappling up against bigger defensive linemen. and he'll win them. They say he's a guy who can win in a phone book. That kind of where you tight space, but he is very technical and has the upper body strength to kind of follow that through. So he's very agile. He does put his length to really good use. Aggressive hands. Um, he's actually really good in the run game as well. I feel like he kind of has this explosion off the line of scrimmage and really again just thrives on getting to that second level. So, yeah, Fountain, I think is to me. I do like Barton, but for me, I think when you're looking down the road, I think we'll talk about him as potentially the best interior lineman from this class. He does need to get a little bit stronger, just as just kind of an overall strength. Um, he sometimes can get his upper body over his feet, and may lose balance a little bit more than he'd like. But again, that kind of once he kind of evens out in the NFL, I think that shouldn't be too much of a problem. So, yeah, Fountain for me is definitely a guy that it's possible he sneaks into the first round. More likely early second round, but somebody's going to get themselves a potential 10-year Pro Bowler. Honestly, this guy could be it.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. He's a tone setter. Yeah, they did get pushed around a little bit in that national championship game against Michigan.
Well,
But
it was for him though.
yeah, yeah. Let's roll on to our number 3, and that is Jackson Powers Johnson. Another really great prospect in this year's draft, man. I like this guy a lot. He's one of the best pure center prospects in this year's class. If you're looking for a long-term starter at center, man, this is your guy. He's got some twitch. He's explosive, just a powerful run blocker who excels in both gap and zone concepts. But he does have some versatility. Like his run blocking is impressive. He can get out into space. He can land blocks when leading the pack in that second level. He's also a great leader. This is a guy that actually I think would fit really well with the Eagles, as kind of that mentor behind Jason Kelce, be the next leader, captain of the Eagles for the next 10 plus years. Just like Graham Barton, this guy's one of the more flawless interior O-line prospects in this draft. Outside of that, he's got some hip issues, but that doesn't matter on the inside, man. This guy is one of the most eye-popping interior O-linemen in this year's class. He's got high versatility and football IQ that I think he's going to thrive at the next level. I think he should be able to step in as a day one starter. And I've got a first-round grade on him. I would be shocked if he falls out. And we just listed 3 interior O-linemen. When you talk about position value in the NFL, this is not a position where you get a lot of those guys. But I think these 3 guys we just talked about are stone cold first-round talents.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I think we're going to see them a little bit more later, just again because of the positional value that the NFL kind of puts on them. But man, I mean, how for me, you can't underestimate any piece on the offensive line as not being as important as the next. I mean, yeah, JPJ, I think is going to be. I think he'll play center, but again, it really just depends on the team that he goes to and their needs. But yeah, man, I mean, if Howie, say Kelce stays one more year and they really like Cam at right guard and Lane's planning on, who knows? I mean, again, things can get crazy here, but maybe they draft this guy and say, hey, listen, learn 1 year under Kels, take over. And our line is set, and we'll worry about tackle the next year, or whatever. Or maybe it's Steen who just needs another year to kind of get into his, into his mode. But I could easily see somebody like this guy coming in and being an amazing replacement for Jason Kelce for sure.
Yeah, and it's not like the Eagles' run blocking was that great to not need an upgrade. So,
sure.
Let's roll on to number 4, and that is Cedric VanPren out of Georgia, Ryan.
Yeah, here we go. A shocker. We got another dog we're talking about here. VanPren, to me, I think what jumps out is you can tell his intelligence He has a high IQ, high awareness, and really just great instincts. He's got a pretty nice, strong build. And he really does is able to kind of use that to his advantage, especially when he's kind of dealing with those larger defensive tackles. But where he shines is the run game, and I think that's certainly a point of emphasis for him. I think he that's kind of almost a sense of pride for him. He just has an amazing physicality in the run game, and will absolutely continue the block to the ground, through the ground, through the whistle. So this is a guy that I feel like Eagle fans would absolutely love. But yeah, he's very he's not the most athletic guy out there, but I feel like he's very much in charge or aware of his body in such a way that it really does kind of make him a lot more athletic than maybe he should be. But yeah, he's just he wins at the point of attack, and he's just an absolute mauler. And we just mentioned the run game obviously needs a little help, even though we did have 1,000-yard rusher. But yeah, Van Pran, I think, would come in and absolutely just take over if, say, Cam shifts over to center. Van Pran, I feel like could be that right guard of the future and just be an absolute mauler in the run game. Could obviously use some pass protection upgrades. Obviously he focuses mostly on the run. And his short arms really don't help when he's trying to fend off bigger interior defenders, when it comes to the passing game. So certainly something that he needs a little refinement in. But honestly, I think this guy is an early day two kind of guy.
I agree.
And man, he has to be in play for the Eagles. I mean, we all know we love the trenches, so why not add another dog?
Yep. He was my interior offensive lineman number one during my preseason rankings.
Oh,
And
nice.
look at his numbers. He's given up 0 sacks in 2023 and 12 total pressures. So he's a good one, man. He's a good one.
For
Really
sure.
good center prospect. Rolling on to number 5, it is Zack Frasier out of West Virginia, a densely built center, good center of gravity. This dude is a former wrestler, and you kind of see it when you watch the tape, man. He's another excellent run blocker, comes off the ball fast. He's a guy that in the passing game, you see the football IQ, you see the awareness. He can quickly key and diagnose stunts. He, again, has a low center of gravity that allows him to anchor against bull rushes. Another guy, yet again, about his lack of arm length. You'll be hearing a lot about this. So, yeah, going up against longer defenders can kind of beat him up a little bit, drive him back a little bit. And he's not the quickest guy, but I think all of those guys, all of those weaknesses I just listed can improve with better technique at the next level. So for me, like another day two guy, I think he has starter level traits. He'll be a center. I think his ceiling is probably capped as a guy that might not have Pro Bowl potential, but a guy that's going to be in the NFL for a long time. And it's important to note that he's a center only prospect. So again, I'm giving this guy a day two grade, which is fine. But he's a solid a safe, high floor, solid prospect, Zack Frasier.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would say he is probably the most likely to stay at center. Whereas, again, I think, JPJ from Oregon certainly could be a center. Van Pran certainly could be the center, but I just kind of feel like they'll eventually, if maybe not right away, but eventually kind of move into their roles as guards. But yeah, Frazier, I feel like is kind of perfectly tuned for center for sure.
Yepers. Let's roll on to number 6, Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State, Ryan.
Yeah, this is just a massive dude. Yeah, Beebe has absolutely is the prototypical immovable object. Once he kind of gets his hands on you, that's it. I mean, he is great against the pass rush. Has such a strong hands and a great grip. And he's honestly just one of those guys where, like, once he is engaged, it's hard to get off. It's hard to get around. So he definitely utilizes that very effectively, especially with his balance and his feet. He definitely has great awareness, in my opinion. Able to kind of see the next move coming almost flawlessly and reacting to that and adjusting. Really good feel for those combo blocks in addition to that. But yeah, I think something that he could use a little bit of upgrading potentially is maintaining the balance sometimes, and maybe avoiding that lunge when it comes to the quicker opponents. I think he's great when it comes to larger interior guys. He knows exactly his job and he bangs up against them. But maybe again, if he's facing an edge kind of coming inside or somebody with a little bit more quickness, he seems to more lunge and doesn't really engage as you normally should. So really does have the raw skills here. So I don't foresee him being an issue. Definitely a day two guy, somebody that can find a nice starter role here in the NFL on the interior. And honestly, I just think you could use a little bit upgrading in the run game, but again, these are all things, as we're literally in the middle of our list. Guys that are probably a day two, guy that maybe not just there like some of the early guys, but a little refinement. They really could be right there, and Beeb's one of them.
Absolutely. Let's roll on to number 7 and the heart and soul of, well, one of the heart and soul leaders of the Michigan Wolverines, Zack Zenner. Just look at that size. Look at that frame. This guy is a massive mountain of a man. He's huge, man. Like, he's also reliable as they come. He's been kind of that constant fixture up front for the Michigan Wolverines for the last several years. This guy is scheme diverse. He has experience playing all across the offensive line at Michigan. But I think he's definitely going to be at guard or center at the next level. I think he's probably most likely a guard. And he's one that really checks off a lot of those essential boxes. He doesn't have like sexy physical traits or raw explosive power. This guy is another high floor dude that will be a starter in the NFL for a long time. One of the worst injuries of the 2023 season, man, when he got knocked down. He suffered a broken tibia and fibula against Ohio State back in November. Man, that was hard to see, but he was there when they won the national championship. The good news is he suffered like kind of that best worst case scenario you could ask for. It was a clean break. He's got a recovery timeline, which was reported as shorter than expected. So he's expected to play his rookie season, which is really good news.
Yeah.
But I think this guy has just all the makings of a starting guard at the pro level. Probably a guard exclusive prospect, which maybe puts a damper on his NFL resume and his demand. But yet again, another high floor, most likely day two guy who's got really good size, really good length, really good anchor and natural power, and can fit a lot of different schemes, man. You could do a lot worse than Zack Zenner on your NFL roster. So that is number 7.
Yeah, he's just a big mauler, honestly. He's a guy you just tell out, take as much space as you can, and he does it. He's great. Yeah, that was such a big loss for Michigan, but obviously they overcame it.
They did. They certainly did. Let's roll on to number 8, and that is heading back to Ohio State. It is Donovan Jackson.
Yeah, Donovan Jackson. He started out as right guard, but quickly moved over to the left side. And the reason for that is he really just does show a nice, high level ability and intelligence out on the field. Exhibits real great quickness, flexibility, and one of those second level guys that he just prides himself on getting to that next level. But he is also capable of sealing, the backside on reach blocks. He has pretty good arm length, for this class, and great arm strength to go along with it. So that's certainly something to his advantage, at least in this class. He has a really good, strong leg, or lower body. He doesn't necessarily look that physically imposing, but he can absolutely create pushback at the line of scrimmage, and really is able to drive defenders into the ground. He really just does a solid job with that, and really uses flexibility and agility to his advantage. But one of the knocks on him, I think a lot of people say he doesn't really have great feet, and not with that, not really great at dealing with speed. And when edge rushers kind of come inside, he seems to not be able to adequately handle that. He's just kind of more comfortable kind of in the run block, and kind of pushing forward rather than retreating as a pass blocker. So certainly something he needs to work on for sure. But I think outside of that, and maybe a little bit of issues with balance, things that can be absolutely taught, cleaned up, refined in the NFL. Hey, what's going on, buddy? I like him a lot. I think Jackson is probably going to be, a day threer, but man, somebody's going to get themselves a highly intelligent interior offensive lineman.
No doubt about it. Raphael is in the house. What's going on, man? Thanks for joining. Let us know your favorite interior lineman in this draft. Let's roll on to, I think, one of the bigger sleepers of this draft. He might be a little low too. I don't know, but it's good to talk about UConn. We don't really normally get to talk a lot about the Huskies here.
Comes to football.
But this guy's a beast, man. Christian Haynes is our number 9 interior O-lineman, man. He's been a consistent presence for the Huskies at right guard since his, first year on campus back when he, 2018, 2019. Really quick feet. He's a smooth mover. He can cover a lot of area. He's got a lot of range in the run game. He kind of plays with a mean streak. His tape is really fun. I have his scouting report coming out next week.
Nice.
I've already been working on this guy. He's been a guy that I'm really intrigued with in that like day 2, day 3 range. He's again plays with that mean streak. He's does a really good job generating a push at the initial point of attack. He doesn't have great height, but I still, you look at that like 6'2" area, but he's still a good run blocker. He's above average as a pass protector. And I think he needs to clean up his technique, and he needs to get in a little more shape. But again, one of the more under the radar standout players this season. I think he could probably play center or guard at the next level. I think it should be guard, in my opinion, because he's really explosive off the line. I think that gives him the best chance. Right now, I see this guy as like a 3rd or 4th round kind of dude. But yeah, make sure you know about Christian Haynes, because this is a guy that I think could really turn some heads during the draft process. And I don't think a lot of people know about him.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy that I think every year when you look at the draft, there's always these random guys. You're like, where did this guy come from? Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think he's one of them where most people are going to be like, who? Like, where did this guy come from? Like, I never heard of him. And he's gonna shoot up the draft boards for sure when it comes closer to the draft. I think he's definitely got a skill set that I think NFL teams will love.
Yep, absolutely. And then number 10 to round out our rankings, it is Christian Mahogany out of Boston College.
Yes, what a great name, by the way. I just wanted to say first and foremost, I can already see the Anchorman Rich Mahogany memes going on for this guy. But this dude is a physical, agile mover who just has really great length and really knows how to use it, has aggressive hands, really is that kind of initial burst off the line, and that initial impact really does land a solid punch against the defense. And as far as a run blocker, he is consistently was in that second level for Boston College this year. He played most of. He started out early in his college career at left, but he played most of his snaps here at this last season at right guard. And I think again, I think that's just kind of shows his versatility. He can kind of play where needed, and really just does have a good understanding of his role and his assignment and what is being asked of him. So yeah, I think he's good at just kind of that understanding of the awareness of what's going on, and kind of understands where he needs to be, and takes really good angles at the point of attack. So but yeah, obviously Boston College not didn't really necessarily go up against a ton of talent, but I will say Mahogany needs to work a little bit more on his pass protection. Seems like maybe in the next level NFL, he might struggle a little bit. He's more of a kind of a run specialist, if you will. So I feel like that skill set that hopefully can get to a good NFL team, that has a coach that can kind of teach him the finer points of pass protection. So yeah, outside of that, I feel like he's just such a physical player that that's going to carry him a lot, and he's going to be a solid piece in day 3 for some team that again really could use some depth, and could use maybe a spot start once he kind of develops a more of an all-around game.
I agree. So guys, that is our top 10 interior offensive linemen. We've already done offensive tackles a couple months ago. We've covered the entire defense.
The entire defense.
So you guys have been voting for which position we target next. So we're getting down there to not a lot of positions left. We have running back, tight end, wide receiver, and quarterback, if I'm correct.
Yeah. Are we gonna have to start putting kicker and punter and fullbacks on there now?
Why not at this point? Why not? Although the special teams, we have number one.
The pride of the Eagles, baby. Let's go.
Oh man, it's so bad. Yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Please be sure to like, comment below your favorite O-lineman prospects down there. Ryan, final thoughts on this group? Plugs.
Yeah, it's funny. You said it perfectly. The arm length is certainly not abundant in this class, but yeah, I think you have a lot of versatility here, which is great. And I think we're going to start seeing, because of that versatility, we're going to start seeing these guys get drafted a little bit earlier than we're used to. I feel like the last couple of years, it's starting to slowly kind of catch up. And I feel like this year, we're going to hear a couple of names here in the first, 40, 50 picks, more than we kind of have in previous years. And I think that's due a lot to the great class that we have, especially the top end. I mean, we were going, and I was like, man, like Zinter is like towards the bottom, like, again, great class. So yeah, I was really excited to talk about the offensive line. We're done with the offensive line. We're done with the whole defense. Now we got to do some skill players. So yeah, I'm really excited. So please make sure not only do you watch all of the other videos, but this guy over here has been doing some crazy amount of prospect videos. Check him out on X. He pretty much just drops them all day. These yeah, it's great. It's awesome. I love every time I refresh, there's a new one that I got to look at. So yeah, seriously, do yourself a favor, dive into the NFL draft. And this is the best way to do it. Honestly, if you're on YouTube, head on over to Edge of Philly Sports YouTube. First of all, subscribe, put on those automatic notifications, but also just dive into the videos, dive into all the prospects. And, I did it by kind of diving into the linebackers one year, many, many years ago. And And that was my favorite position. And obviously the Eagles will never draft anybody, but still I hope and I wait patiently. But that's how I kind of found it. And that's how I started loving it. And I got into other positions and then targeted players. And man, it's so much fun when you're actually watching the draft and most of the people you're looking at. Like it's so great. So do yourself a favor, become a draft junkie like the rest of us. And honestly, this is the guy to start it off, actually to do everything. So hats off to him. He's put in the work and the time, and it's proven fantastic. Oh, Twitch.
We got a Twitch comment, which
Twitch.
never happened.
Let's go.
I'm hoping for a good cornerback. I'm sure everyone else is too. I know we got to worry about the lines, but I've been begging for a cornerback. If you go to the channel, we've covered our top 10 corners, and there's also individuals scouting reports on this channel of probably all the top corners in this
easily
draft. So I've already hit on a lot of them.
The last couple of days you've put out like 3 or 4 of them. Not necessarily the top guys, but the guys you need to know about.
Yeah, so it's all there. So if you're looking for a corner, it's all on this channel because that's a huge – I agree, Ebony, like that's a huge position of need. Definitely. Top 3 position of need for the Eagles, no doubt about it. Again, thank you everyone for watching. He is Ryan Reese. Go give him a follow on X at Philly Sports PSA. I am Dives, Mr. Crackpot. Be on the lookout. We will do a poll for which position we will rank next. It'll be wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, or running back. Yeah, he wants tight end. I want wide receiver because I think the wide receiver class is awesome. I mean,
wow. Don't get me wrong. For the Eagles, tight end. For overall just enjoyment, wide receiver is I don't think there's a better class that we have. So it's going to be so much. I mean, the 10th guy, we haven't even figured that out yet, but the 10th guy is probably going to be a stud. Yeah, we're just going to be like, oh yeah, the 10th guy, he's a stud. This is going to be great. It's such a great class.
I legit if I already have my rankings done, and the number 10 wide receiver in this draft is probably a first round talent. That's how deep this is.
Yeah,
it's crazy. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you everyone for watching. He is Ryan Reese. I'm Dives. We're Party on Broad. We out. Stay awesome, everyone.